Welcome back to a Creative Cast, everybody. We're a creative cast of people talk about creative things. I'm your host, Cali, and today I have with me...
The two boys. I'm Chris.
I'm Marshaun.
Hey! And today we are going to be talking about workflow stuff. Ooh.
Yay.
Yeet.
We be flowing.
Easy
Work flowing.
Or not so flowing.
Or not so flowing.
Or not so flowing, you know. However it be. Let's see here. I guess we can just jump right into it. Alright. So what would you guys say that your workflow is? Like, is there a particular order to how you do things? Is there any consistency? Does consistency matter to you? Or do you just kind of fly by the seat of your pants?
I think for me, consistency and workflow is key. Like, it's almost like an essential thing for me to function.
I gotcha.
Especially when working in like the game development pipeline, things have to kind of move and get built like a factory almost. So it's useful to have like systems in place for a good, efficient workflow. Yeah, and when I'm working on something in like 3D, there's kind of these logical steps to follow. Like, you start out with a sketch and then you build out basic shapes and then you add detail. It's it's just a workflow that I've kind of tweaked and crafted over time.
Yeah, I gotcha. Sounds like you got a good flow going.
Yeah, how about you?
Moi?
Yeah.
'Tis I, the Frenchest fry. I'd say there's like a general consistency, like starting with a sketch, line work, I feel like sometimes though I kind of throw a few things out the window and it's definitely changed. Not sure if I could say for the better. But that's mostly due to like time constraints and things like that. Like, I don't want to say cutting certain corners, but I guess in a way, like, yeah, cutting certain corners, like, restacking, like, I guess just, like, reprioritizing what should happen first or what needs more time, depending on the project. Which is also something that I'm slowly learning as I'm, like, getting into a consistent workflow, figuring out what projects need how much time, and trying to make sure that I actually dedicate that time to the projects in question. Yeah, it's a bit of a give and take. How about you, Marshaun?
My workflow has kind of been all over the place lately. It's been like really sporadic, but it hasn't been a bad thing. Like, I'll have like random ideas for a new project and get really excited about it and think, okay, well, I'll just work on this. And 30 minutes turns into like 2 hours and I'm having a good time. And then that project doesn't get finished, of course, because it wasn't like the plan to finish it. So I just have these half-finished things all over the place, which isn't really a bad thing because I can come back to it at any other random point where I don't know what I want to work on and just be like, oh yeah, I started this and I kind of liked it. Let me revamp it and push it a little further and it'll just sit in the void until it eventually gets finished. And I've been finding that to be like very stress relieving when it feels like the whole artistic journey at this point in our lives is like just work.
Yeah.
Much like Rihanna. In that sense, I feel there's just a lot of commission work or like work to do or just like day job work, like you were saying, Chris, because you work in the video game pipeline and it's just like a lot of work to do and not a whole lot of creativity or getting outside the box. So my workflow has been disjointed between serious work for commissions and sitting down and planning out what my next few steps are and how much time I'm going to put into those things because it's a paid job that needs to get done, and the workflow that is just sporadic and all over the place, so I can like relax a little and just look at something a different way for once.
Yeah, I feel you. Definitely, I definitely feel like I need to be more organized with the, organized and precise with the stuff that I get directly paid for, like commissions, because it's just like they're paying me, so like I need to make sure that every second counts because they're paying for that.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Excuse me, sorry. Do you guys think that your particular workflows, like, I mean, like, you kind of answered this yourself, Marshaun, but do you think your workflows are, like, effective, or do you think they could be improved, or, like, do you feel like you're getting the most out of your time with the way that you have things structured?
If you don't mind, I'll answer that one first.
Of course.
I don't know if I'm using all of my time the most effectively, but I feel like I've created... I think the first thing I have to do with any project is that I have to answer a question of, like, what actually needs to be done, and then I hit those requirements, like, oh, this is a smaller commission, so I don't have to pull out the stops and spend 2 weeks rendering. It's a small commission. I can get it done in maybe an afternoon if I'm working really hard, or if I have a bunch of other projects to do, I'll split it up into multiple days and get it done by the end of the week. Just to have that the way I need it to be and know that it's finished. Excuse me. Sorry, repeat the second half of the question again.
Do you think it could be, like, improved? Like, do you feel like you're getting the most out of your time?
That's where I feel like I need work. I feel like logically I have everything set up, but I feel like stylistically, maybe not stylistically, but just like the quality of the work could always be improved. But when you've got deadlines and you're trying to hit specific deadlines, you know, you can't sit there and work on it forever. So I feel like I would like to be in a further, more advanced part of my project earlier on than I currently am. But that's just an understanding of, you know, the media and all that you're doing and your own workflow and process. So yeah, just trying to work on that.
Yeah. For sure.
I'm not sure. I think for me, my workflow is like, it's good, but I feel like sometimes
You're good.
I don't know. I'm not sure. I might have to skip on this one.
No, I got you. We can always circle back. It's no worries, no problem. I jotted these questions down, like, at 4 a.m, so you know.
I'm looking at your questions.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah. Well, I guess that kind of ties into.
Actually, you know what? I want to push this question further, Chris.
Okay.
Because you spend more time consistently working than all of us. Well, than the three of us. So, is it really just putting your head down and doing the work repetitiously, or are you, like, do you have a setup, like, I want to do this in a certain way? Like, do you compartmentalize your projects and your project points, or do you just go, and whatever needs work, you work on it? Because I wonder how you sustain so many long hours of work, and I'm like, well, is there a system? Is there a process? Do you take notes?
Yeah.
Part of that is the fact that it's probably not as consistent as you might think.
Okay.
In fact, it's a lot of breaks and like a lot of staring at my whatever I'm working on and just like thinking.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. But it works.
Yeah. And this might be getting into the productivity part of our discussion a bit early, but I think the system that I'm starting to find is most effective for me is like doing work sprints. So like I'll set like a timer for like an hour, and I say to myself that I have to do focused work for a solid hour, and then I'll take like a 15-minute break after that, just to like either think about what I just worked on or not look at my work at all. And having those dedicated breaks kind of gets you into like a cycle, so that when you're working you don't think about the idea that you could do something else, or that you could do something that would distract from your workflow.
I gotcha. Marshaun introduced me to a similar thing, but instead of an hour and 15, it's 40 minutes of work and then like 20 minutes of break, which is kind of nice because it makes for a consistent hour.
I like rounded numbers, yeah.
Yeah, it's made it very easy to plan stuff because I can look at the clock and be like, oh, okay, so I've got like 5 hours to do stuff, neato. But what's it called?
I'd like to point out that point, like the whole 20 minutes of rest is like so you do something else actively.
Yeah.
Like in like a 5-minute break is fine for some people, 15 minutes is fine for some people, 30 minutes is fine for some people. In 20 minutes, the idea is that I could like watch an episode of a show if I skip the opening. Like I can do something that I want to do with my free time, regardless of what I'm working on my work time. So the break is spent actively doing something that I want to do, so I can kind of relax and then come back to the project. It's not just 20 minutes of like sitting there or going to sleep.
Yeah, no, and I've personally like found it very helpful, especially because like for a while there I was feeling really burnt out and having a hard time like feeling motivated to work. So I would just like kind of dick around and like do other things. But having the designated break times made it easier to get back into working because I knew that I had another break coming. And it was just like, oh, okay, so it didn't feel like it was as steep a mountain to climb as it did before, which is nice. And there have been times when I've foregone the break times because I was just like, I've only got 3 hours to get something done. I'm just gonna like I'm making the call. I'm just gonna work consistently for those 3 hours, and then like I'll be done for the night. Yeah. So it kind of depends. I'm trying not to make that a huge habit because I don't want to like fall back into basically like not doing anything because I'm so burnt out. But I think like the difference between like the short like 40 minutes and then like just consistently going for a few hours has helped me be a lot more productive, especially this week. Like I've been very productive this week. I'm pretty proud of myself. Not to toot my own horn too much, but you know, I'm proud of myself. I've been doing good.
A nice productive work week always feels nice.
Yeah, I feel like I've earned my breaks. I feel good. Yeah.
I do agree with that anxiety, though. I felt that definitely before. Because I don't always want to sit there for 40 minutes on a project that I'm really getting into and I want to work on it for longer. Or it's a project I don't really want to work on and 40 minutes seems like too long.
Yeah.
So it's really up to you in that individual case. Like, of course, like how close it is to a deadline or something like that, or how important the project is. Sometimes you want to put more time into it. But it's good to, like, keep going back to the system so you can keep working in general. Like, you don't need the motivation to get up and work. You're like, okay, I want to work on something. I have a system in place. Follow the system. I'll be okay.
Something else that like the 40 minutes has helped me with is keeping track of how long it takes to do things. Like I knew like I didn't know specifically how long it took me to do some stuff. I mean, like I had a good idea because, you know, I've been doing commissions for like a year, so I've had a good idea of like how long it takes to do certain things and how to like maximize that time and everything. But I feel like I've just gotten like a newfound understanding because I'm just like, I've got 40 minutes. I'm becoming a lot more familiar with what I can do in those 40 minutes so that I can like even more properly make the call. Like, I don't have time for the 20-minute break. I'm just going to work for like the full hour or whatever's, like I said, whatever's going on depending on the situation.
Yeah.
But that's actually been pretty nice. I feel like I'm getting a lot, like I'm refamiliarizing myself with my process, which is cool.
Yeah, that's always interesting. It's always interesting looking at something from a different perspective, and it's something that Kitson used to preach back in college. He would just say, like, step away from your piece and then come back in and reevaluate it in some way. Like, erase something that you like and then draw it again. Or, like, just flip it upside down and look at it from a different perspective. Like, do something to come back to your process again and see what you can take away or customize or whatever.
Yeah, I was even telling you about something that Sakovich told me about with like once you finished a piece, like take some time off from it and then like come back and like just like quickly jot down like 5 things you want to fix those 5 things and then like come back to it later, like give it some time, which I thought was like a really great way to like break down how to just like incrementally improve a piece without overwhelming yourself with like all the shit you wanna change.
Yeah.
So that was a really, really good solid piece of advice.
I think the overarching like uniformity to these 3 things, or these 3 ideas of approaching work, is just taking it one step at a time. That seems to be like what it's all saying. Just take it slowly, take it one step at a time. Don't overwhelm yourself. Take breaks when you need to. Essentially, be good to yourself.
Yeah.
Which we shouldn't need all these formulas and quadratic equations to understand why, like, how to be good to ourselves while we work. But it is how it is.
Yeah.
Sorry, Chris, you were gonna say something.
No, I was just gonna say that's like the nature of being an artist is like you think it's healthy for yourself because you're like doing these like creative things. It's a creative outlet, but then you're like
creative on demand.
Yeah, it's sometimes the workflow can be like almost not a healthy thing.
Yeah.
I feel like this conversation is really helpful for any outsiders who may wonder why it's so difficult to make art. Like,
Yeah.
like all you have to do is sit down and draw, or sit down at a computer. It's so easy. It's like, no, it's mentally draining and taxing.
Oh, it really is.
And you can't just sit down and work sometimes. You need these systems in place to keep yourself, moving forward. Some people have that creativity. Some people can just sit down and and it's great for hours, and it's like, that's awesome.
Good
That's
for you.
amazing.
Yeah.
But I noticed very early on that I'm not that kind of person.
Because like it's really like I'd almost compare it to like driving in the sense that like it takes so much mental energy because like every single click, every single like pen stroke, everything is thought through, and it's so much mental energy to like really think through like what you're doing, how is it looking, does it make sense, does it look good, and like am I getting too caught up in the moment, is it like actually working out, or am I like just getting too attached to this.
Looking at the big picture seems to be like a very heavily discussed mindset for artists. Like in the literal sense, like, don't zoom in to your painting in Photoshop and like work on every individual pixel, because that'll take you forever to finish. Like, look at the whole picture as you make it. It's the same thing. It seems like artists have that mindset with life too, or at least, I mean, I do. Where it's like, it's so like you always want to take a step back and think, am I really like in danger right now? Is everything okay? And it's like, oh yeah, that's right, I'm fine. Big picture, everything's cool. And I can calm down and go get back to a situation that's giving me stress.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me of something I'm dealing with work right now is right now we're working on level design, and with level design we have like a bunch of different levels, and it's easy to look at one specific level and want to like fully flesh it out and do all this work on that one level, but oftentimes I'll have to like pull back and look at the big picture scope of the whole game and tell myself that like all of these are just as important, like all of the parts. There's this fun quote that I stumbled across recently that is like, if there's a stone bridge, all of the stones that make that bridge are as important as the arch of the bridge itself. So it's like you can work on like one stone, make it the best stone that's in the bridge, but until you have all the stones in place, it's not going to be a bridge.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, I like that. That I feel like translates very well. Yeah, that's a
I've
good
never heard that one. I like it too.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah. I feel like that also kind of speaks to like improvement and things like that. It's just like, yeah, I'm really good at like to the blessed soul who's actually good like at hands, like good on ya. But like for excuse me, I know that like just starting out, it can be really easy to like find something very specific that you're good at, like hands or like eyes or faces and stuff like that, and really stick hardcore to that. But I mean, if that's the only thing you're good at, like not to poo-poo on anybody, but I think there's something to be said for expanding your horizons, especially like in the actual industry. Like people have made like their specific niches work and stuff like that for personal businesses, but like in the industry, like working in a studio, it's typically seen as good to like be a little more well-rounded than pretty anime eyes.
Hey man, those pretty anime eyes, they carried me through high school. They got me to where I am today.
Good on ya.
The amount of old sketchbooks I have with just like random eyeballs.
Right? Like eyeballs, some random wings here and there.
In high school, my drawing teachers used to like low-key make fun of that mentality. And like I was like, oh, I guess I won't do this.
Oh, no.
I didn't really do it much to begin with, but then I was just like, okay, I'll make sure I don't do this.
Yeah.
But you know, when you're starting out, you fall into a lot of different footholds, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
If drawing eyes, if you were like just starting to draw and drawing eyeballs every now and again on a sketchbook makes you want to draw them, that's what's important. Like, keep working.
Yeah, no.
But we're talking about if you're a professional,
like
you should probably have more than one good thing you do.
yeah.
Unless you literally just sell these eyeball drawings for thousands of dollars.
The Damien Hirst of eyeballs. My god. The what's it called? Yeah.
I mean, it's feasible.
Yeah, no, there's some real specific niches out there that people make some good money from. But I feel like I don't know. I can't speak to how that process is because I haven't worked it too much myself. Still trying. But one second. I mean, I don't know. I think it's just good to like expand your horizons, learn new things. But I definitely agree. Like if drawing an eyeball or two like makes you want to draw, if that's what's getting you into it, like there's no shame in that. We like we said, we all have like sketchbooks full of eyeballs and random anime faces. Like there ain't if that's your way in, there ain't nothing wrong with that.
I have a very specific ratty sketchbook from, I want to say, 8th grade. That is just like a 34-page comic that I wrote, and I can't stand to look at it now. But aside from that, it's just Spider-Man and like eyeballs and faces and noses, because I was having such a hard time with noses, and like hair. So there's a bunch of like very beginnery things in that book that I could pull out at some point and we could all look at it, but
That'd be
that's for later.
I'm like flashing back to like old ass drawings and I'm like, oh oh no. Oh god. Yeah, no, like improvements have been made and I can be proud of that. But I'm not gonna what's it called? I don't want to make anybody feel bad about where they come from, because Lord knows my my OG sketchbooks are terrible. Oh, they're so bad.
Yeah.
We're gonna start a new series. It's gonna be a YouTube channel all on its own. It's gonna be called Dumpster Fire. It's where we all go through our old like sketchbooks.
Oh my god, I remember this one thing where I was trying to do this really pretty scene, and I was showing it to somebody, and she asked if I was inspired by Picasso because of the way the face was drawn.
Oh no. That's like what a
That's
compliment.
that is on so many levels, so many different things. Like, if you're a child and you don't know who Picasso is, like, yeah, that probably hurts when you look him up. But like, if you're like an artist who actually knows Picasso and knows his history and knows how his work looks, not just the abstract stuff, but his like realistic stuff, you're like, oh wow, yeah, I was inspired by Picasso, yeah. Unless you were going for something abstract, and then that's a huge compliment.
Yeah, I wasn't. I just could not, for the life of me, make profile faces look good.
It's hard. It's hard.
Really hard. It was bad. Oh my gosh. But yeah, so now you guys know that exists. If I ever find the drawing, I'll show you. Oh my gosh.
Were you inspired by Picasso? Why, yes, I was inspired by Picasso, actually.
I don't remember what my response was. I want to say that I said I was just to make it sound a lot cooler than it was, but I might have just been like, no, who's that? Because I was real baby new. I mean, obviously, I was old enough to know, like, Picasso was a big name, but, like, I couldn't, like, I wasn't, like, if you asked me to pick out his work from a lineup, I would struggle just a little bit. But yeah, back to the original topic. Like, we don't always go a little off topic with the pod bod.
Pod bod.
Pod bod. I like pandemic bod. I mean, my goodness.
Welcome, everyone. Let's check in with our pod bots. This is the part of the show where we talk about our pod bots.
Pod bod.
Have you guys been working on your pod bot? I've been eating an especially large amount of pizza recently. trying to round out, really.
The most spherical of shapes.
The most spherical. That is the pod bod shape.
When they say get in shape, excuse you, round is a shape.
Yes.
You put that in your pipe and smoke it, kids. But don't smoke, kids.
Please. Don't smoke. Don't do a lot of things.
Don't go to art school.
No.
I'm kidding.
Go to art school. Be gay. Do crimes. You knew it was coming. One of these days.
This is what we're marketing on the podcast now.
Yes, absolutely. Definitely.
This is an educational podcast about life.
Yes. But this is like the real talk. Nobody's paying us to say these things, so you can believe it. At least not yet. I mean, if you want to support the channel.
If you want to support our channel, you can head right on over to our Patreon at Cali Creates.
Yeah, I don't have a Patreon, but I do have a Redbubble. Link in the description. Also, these guys' info is going to be in the description too, because they're awesome. Check them out. Cool.
Yeah. I don't have anything that I can monetize.
But you got something.
It's something.
I'm monetizing my sparkling personality right now.
Yay.
Except we're not getting monetized. We already said that. Damn.
Yeah. Shucks.
Carolyn actually pays us to be on the podcast. 50 cents each.
God, if only I had that much. Can you spare a quarter? No.
A halfpenny will do.
I'll give you half a halfpenny.
Halfpenny's already half.
I know. Okay. Back to the topic for realsies this time. What makes you feel productive? Like, is there any part of your workflow process that's about helping you, like, get into the zone, or do you just do it and hope it works out?
feel like that's how I approach life when I wake up in the morning. I just roll out of bed and I'm like, well, let's see what happens today.
She's like, oh look, heart's still beating. I guess this means we're doing this.
I found that my Skull Candy ANC Skull Crusher headphones, not sponsored, hashtag sponsor me. I found that the ANC headphones, which I've never had ANC before, like active noise canceling in anything, is so nice.
Yeah.
When I wake up in the morning and I put my headphones on and I just sit down and I listen to something soft in the headphones, it's like a calm that I'm not used to experiencing. It's just such a, like, sit down and it's time to work kind of feeling, because I already like being up in the morning when no one else is really awake. I don't really have to send out too many emails, no one's really messing with me, so I can get some artwork done. But it's especially easy to like kind of sink into that little art world, that little headspace, when I'm wearing the headphones, these wireless headphones, so I don't have to worry about a cord or anything. And it's just like good music in my ears. And when I want to turn it up and get bassy, I can. And it's like, yeah! I'm like drawing aggressively. And when I'm ready to calm down, it's just like lo-fi. And I'm like, yeah, chill. It's good stuff. That's what helps me stay focused. Good sound quality headphones.
Yeah, proper equipment for the workday is totally underrated. For me, that piece of equipment is my new desk. Shout out to Fully Desks. No, not sponsored. Sponsor us.
Yeah.
All the sponsors,
Send us all the
please.
desks.
All the
We are
sponsors.
sellouts. We're starving artists. Give us money.
Pay for our groceries.
No, but legitimately, I can, like, say if I'm, like, sitting down and I'm getting kind of, like, my mind's kind of drifting, like, I'm not feeling fully productive, I can just hit a button, be like, I'm standing now. That means I'm working.
There you
So
go.
I can, stand up, get a different position, get some blood flowing, do some side lunges while I'm working,
Ooh, so fancy.
And,
I don't even do side lunges. I go to the gym 4 times a week.
just changing up your position while working, changing your posture can be really helpful for productivity, I found. And similar to that, something I've also been getting into recently is yoga in the morning.
Yeah.
I find that it really helps wake me up before getting
you
into the
go-go?
workday. Yeah. Yeah. And then, like, something it's very cheesy, but something you do in yoga is you set, like, an intention for your day. So you're like, what do I want to do today? I want to get this certain number of tasks done, and then you say namaste, and then you do those things, and it just feels really good for
Nice.
productivity.
That's awesome.
Like, it's so cheesy, but it kind of works.
It does kind of work.
I mean, hey, whatever works. Like, if it works for you, good on ya.
Yeah.
Like, there
That-
you go.
Actually, yeah. Let me talk about what you said, and I'm going to talk about what he said. Yes, that makes a lot of sense. I think I grew up kind of with this idea that if I want to do something, I have to do it this one way, and I didn't look for other ways to skin a cat. Essentially, please don't skin cats. And like I got stuck into this really specific workflow most of my life, where it was just like, do this thing, just do this thing. Don't ever try to do it any other way. And if other people have advice, maybe consider it. But yeah, whatever works, good. I've been finding little things here and there that help me stay focused and stay like productive, and they're like all things that I never would have expected. Like, I listen to way more music now than I ever have before because I didn't know it would help me work. Or I listen to more podcasts or video essays because they help me get creative and inspired, which I didn't do before. So, like, yeah. that's really helpful. Whatever works, and just let it work for you. But what Chris was saying, remind me what you were saying. No, I'm kidding. Yoga has been super helpful recently, and like setting the intentions for the day. I don't do that, but I should probably. My personality, I feel like, is like naturally at odds with yoga. I've been doing it recently, as part of an exercise routine, not as anything else. But like, I've been doing it recently, and I like how I feel at the end of it. But mentally going into it, I never want to do it. I never want to do it. It isn't until like the first 2 minutes in, I'm like, oh yeah, I like this. I forgot. But I'm glad that you also do yoga.
Yeah.
That's really cool. That's helpful for me to know.
Yeah. It's it's a nice, like, natural, like, getting yourself into, like, out of that waking up haziness that can sometimes linger into your workday.
Right.
It just kind of lets you shake stuff off and have, like, a clear vision. And maybe, like, yoga isn't the answer for everyone. Maybe it's just, like, going for a run or doing other workout physical things, or maybe it's not something physical. Maybe it's reading a chapter of a book. I don't know. Something to wake the mind up before getting into your work routine.
That reminds me of another thing I used to do when it was colder, more towards the winter months. Waking up in the morning and getting tea or coffee. That also helps you wake up and just, like, get ready to work and focus up when something warm is in you.
Yeah. Coffee is essential for me to work productively. Like, if I don't have coffee, my day is shot.
I gotcha. I feel that.
I hate being so dependent on it, but I also just like coffee, so I don't mind it being, like, a negative habit that I have.
We all need a little self-destruction in our lives.
Yeah.
My self-destructiveness comes from Oreos. I'll eat entire family-sized packs on my own. 2 of them in one night. So, we all have issues.
Yeah. I do kind of, I don't know, just want to reiterate what you were saying, Marshaun, about, like, seeing what works and making it work. Obviously, like, we're, like, spouting a lot of stuff that can be good, like, solid advice, and there's a lot of really great advice videos out there, but, like, don't beat yourself up, over whether or not something works for you, because everybody's different. Like, if it works for you, good. If it doesn't, then like, make it work. Like, I can't handle bullet journaling for the life of me. But like a physical journal, like, I can't make that work. I've tried, I've failed, I can't. And my life is too chaotic and I move stuff around too much. I need digital. And that's why I use Notion. Hashtag not sponsored. Hashtag sponsor us.
We use Notion. This is a Notion house. Chris will learn.
Chris will learn.
I personally don't use Notion, but would be willing to try.
But yeah, like, I live off of Notion. Like, I was using, like, my notes app for ages, and now I have Notion, and it's, like, it's just so handy to just have everything there. But that's what works for me personally. And like Marshaun said, like, he picked the break time specifically to work for him so he can watch an episode of something. Find what works for you and then run with it. Run with it until you can't, or if you realize you need to do something different. But, like we were saying, be nice to yourself. Like, give yourself the opportunity and the space to try something and to see if it works, and don't beat yourself up over if it doesn't. But be honest with yourself over, like, how to make it work or what to do differently.
Yeah, I think, like, faking a productive workflow is probably even less productive than having, like, an actual workflow.
For sure, definitely. Yeah, no, like, if
What's an example of, like, a faked workflow?
Like,
something you force on yourself.
For example, if Cali was to force herself to use, like, a journal that is just, like, it's taking more time out of your day than, like, feels good.
To, like, just make it work for me, because I have to put in that extra effort, because it's just, like, it's not comfortable, I don't like it, it's not that I don't understand it. Like I said, I move stuff around too much, and having to, like, erase and then, like, physically write out new stuff instead of just copy and paste. Like, I'm not trying to, like, bullet journaling. It works great for so many people. Doesn't work for me. I can't.
It was my thing for a year.
Yeah, you did great. I can't do that. I've, like, even just a physical journal, I've tried to have those my entire life, and it never works. It just doesn't work. Digital journal? Fine. Like, I can't. Like, I love the idea of, like, physically writing, my handwriting's terrible, but like, I just can't. It's just not for me. I'm sorry.
That's A-okay.
Yeah. You know what? I take back the sorry. What do I have to be sorry for? Hashtag not sorry.
Bullet journaling was my thing for a while. But, well, like we just said. But, yeah. I'm eventually moved to digital journaling because I always had my iPad on me. Unless I was at work or something, which at the time during the pandemic it never was. Oh, we're still during the pandemic, but you know what I mean. During the quarantine.
Yeah.
I was always with my iPad, and I always had my notebook with me too, but I was just like, things are always changing. My calendar is always changing. Things are always moving, and I think the thing about a bullet journal that I liked was that it was organized and clean, and it was nice to look at. Even if my handwriting was trash, at least it was consistent. But yeah, it was the act of crossing things out or erasing things or having to move something from one day to another day that bugged me, because when I went through the journal again, there were just things that kept reappearing, and it just threw off my OCD. So yeah, the digital note-taking was a lot easier. When I have to move something, it's like it was never moved.
Yeah.
And it just it helps me centralize. Also, Notion just has so many other things other than just like your calendar and your like daily schedule to look at, that it's just a good central hub.
It really is. I like it a lot. In fact, I use Notion to jot down the questions for this interview.
Wouldn't you know, we recorded it on Notion's live recording app.
They don't actually have that.
Notion bought our house for us, guys. Didn't know if you knew that.
But yeah, just
Notion's my dad. Hashtag Notion's my dad.
Hashtag Daddy Notion.
No. I laughed and then I was like, wait a minute. Okay. Chris.
Yeah.
Were you going to say something and I cut you off? Again.
There's
Could you?
there's a lot of different like digital like tools that I've found useful. I think for me, I'm not sure if Notion has something like this, but do you guys know what a Kanban board is?
What?
It's it's basically like any board that's in the style of like a Trello, like where you have a list of tasks and you can like physically move that task from one category to another.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
Yeah, you have like columns of, let's say, tasks to do, currently working on tasks, and finished tasks.
Yeah, they have stuff like that.
Yeah, so for me, it's like those types of boards are very useful. I've used Trello and I've used Milanote. Both of those have these style of boards. And moving, like, the feeling of moving a task that you finish from task to do to currently working to finished task is just so rewarding and nice, and it's something that helps me feel like I'm getting stuff done.
That's a good idea. I think I might have to try something like that. I would need a longer list because of all the paintings I just told you I start and don't finish. But if those were on a list in front of me and I could slide them over that, I've never tried that before, but I'd like to try that. That sounds cool.
Yeah, it's very rewarding.
And yes, you can do that on Notion. That is absolutely a thing you can do.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Zoomy zoom.
There were like really loud motorcyclists going through this neighborhood recently, and I'm like, why?
Yeah.
It's like 1 a.m. Children are asleep across the street. Anyway, what the heck was it? Yeah, Notion can do that, and
I think it's called Roadmap specifically.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, I actually I can even show you. Ta-da!
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks great.
Yeah, and it's really nice because you can it's like you said, it's categorized in not started, in progress, completed. But if I tap on something, boom, all the notes that go with it.
Wow.
I know, it's so handy.
hashtag still not sponsored.
Still not sponsored. Please sponsor us. Big fans. I could sing Notion's praises all day, but you guys can't see what I'm pointing at. So, but yeah, I definitely feel you there. It's really nice to be able to see where everything's at, and being able to move something from one space to another is super rewarding. Also, I'm an artist, so big surprise, I'm a visual person, so it's really handy to see everything, physically see what needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, you're an artist?
Boy!
Yeah, I do. The use of digital tools and like a nice visual to-do list is like one of the best things that I would recommend to anyone that needs some like productivity boost in their life. Is just like put everything that you want to do on a list and then pick like a thing or two per day depending on the scale of the task to try and tackle, and then just see how that works.
I agree.
Yeah.
And definitely, like, also kind of like going off of what you said, Chris, and tying it into a bit of what I said earlier. Like, give yourself the, like, space to figure out, like, what works for you and, like, what amount of time. Because something else I've been struggling with recently is piling on too much in a day and then feeling like I haven't accomplished anything because I didn't get it all done, when in reality, I did get a lot of stuff done. I just didn't get everything done, which was impossible to begin with.
Preaching to the choir.
Boy! But yeah, it's, recently I've been trying to be a little bit nicer about, like, what I put into a day and not beating myself up over how much I got done, and just being honest with myself, like, do I actually feel like, am I accomplishing what I got done, or did I put too much on my plate? And just, like, accepting, like, okay, I didn't get to one thing today, but hey, that's one thing as opposed to, like, 10. And just being a little more realistic with my goals, and part of that is breaking them down. Like, a whole painting can seem like a lot in the beginning, but I mean, if you break it down into, like, a sketch, the line art, the colors, the shading, then it becomes much easier and much more manageable steps.
Right. Yeah, like on my to-do list with like game assets, for example, like I don't want to, finish this asset as one item. I'd rather have like concept art for the asset and then like the first pass on the model, second pass on the model, animations, like very clear and deliberate steps in as part of one single task.
You mean a clear and deliberate workflow?
Yeah.
Circling back!
Yes.
It's the circle of context.
Yes.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, that was all.
I was gonna say something about something you were talking about, and I lost it already. And that'll keep happening to me because knowing that we're being recorded only makes my memory go like out the window.
It's okay. It's okay.
You were saying something about breaking your process, your workflow down into the lines and the colors and the other stuff. That
thing.
Here's a quick disclaimer: if you're an artsy fartsy type, and you've been working with that process for a while, like I was, you could also just mash all of them together and do some one-layer painting. When I first started learning digital, this was a real big thing for me. That's why I'm bringing this up. It's part of my workflow. When I started digital, I was stuck in the mentality that I just had to do everything separately. Like I had to draw the lines, and then I had to clean the lines, and then I had to ink the lines, and then I had to do the base colors, and then figure out the shadows and the lights and the ambient occlusion and the subsurface scattering, and like do everything on a separate layer, and all of this stuff had to happen separately. And then I was like getting really bored doing that for years. Like that's how I did a lot of my paintings, and I was like, cool, but the process was the same for a long time, and it started getting stale. So I was like, all right, here, I'm going to do the drawing, and then I'll paint it tomorrow, and then I'll flat it the next day, like, And then I just started jumping on paintings from the beginning. I'm like, this is where this is going to go, this is where that's going to go. I got some, got some loose sketching going on, and I'm just going to throw paint at it and see what happens. And that has been, like, a great, like, revitalization of my process. So, like I was saying, if you're an artsy-fartsy type and you've been stuck in doing one process for a while and you're kind of getting sick of it, switch it up.
Yeah.
Do something different.
Yeah.
Throw something new in there, and if it looks bad, well, then figure out how to make it look good.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Like we said, be nice to yourself. Let yourself make mistakes in order to learn.
Yes.
Because that's how you learn.
Make mistakes. Thousands of them. All the time. If you don't make 1,000 mistakes, I'm coming after you.
Specifically art mistakes. Don't... Well, I mean, mistakes in life are cool. Just don't...
We're not qualified to talk about those.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Another little point that I was reminded of when we were talking about digital versus physical things is the importance of the like physical space around you when you're working.
Yeah. True.
So for me, like I cannot be productive unless I have like a clean workspace around me. Like if I'm working at my desk and there is a dirty dish on my desk, there is like a 99% chance that I will get distracted at some point and just need to like do something about that dish.
I gotcha.
Yeetus.
Yeah.
That can. Just gonna say something else.
Yeah. Yeah, but the what's the saying? A cluttered room is a cluttered mind or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
I think about that a lot too. Like, I clean my room enough to the extent that there's like nothing really obstructing my headspace when I want to get up and pace, because I tend to do that when I've been working for a while. Like sometimes even during that 20-minute break, I'll like get up, stretch, and just walk around the room and think about what I'm working on. So I clean my room to the extent that I can walk and there's nothing on the floor in front of me, and there's nothing like getting in the way when I just need to be in my headspace and think. So that's usually what motivates me to kind of keep the area as tidy as I feel like keeping it that week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I gotcha. I definitely, like, I don't know, I have a bad habit of letting my dishes pile up, but, like, once I clean them, which I gotta do today, there's always just, like, this, like, breath of fresh air that I get when I sit at my desk, and it's all nice and, like, open, and it's not as cluttered. That's nice. I appreciate that. And, what's that called? I also, to, like, I don't know, to make my, like, as, like, a motivating factor and as, like, something that's just, like, personally nice for me, I've got, like, posters of, like, movies that I really like and, like, art that I love and just pictures of my family as, like, motivation around me, which is nice, because then, like, when I get really stressed out, I can just, like, take a second and just, like, look around and remind myself why I'm doing this. And that's nice.
On my bookshelf in my room, I saved the top shelf specifically for, like, my Overwatch prints that I got with the art book and the prints / the map for the Breath of the Wild art book. Because that's kind of where I don't put anything on my wall because I never really thought about it before. But if I want to put something on my wall, I want it to be framed and I want it to be, like, kind of pretty and well put together. So I don't have anything on my walls, but in my bookshelf I have these things that are like representations of some of the coolest artistic achievements I've experienced or really enjoyed and put a lot of time into, Breath of the Wild and Overwatch. And I like to keep those there because I see my bookshelf every day. It's where all of my sketchbooks and art books are. And then I look up at the top, which is roughly eye level, and I'm just like, oh yeah, art I really like and really inspires me. I see this every day, and it keeps me motivated. It keeps the workflow going.
Yeah. I think that's something I could probably do a bit more, is like have visual inspiration around my work desk. But
well, your desktop is like full of paintings that are really, really cool.
Yeah, that's true.
You've liked for years.
I do have a like cycling desktop background that inspires me.
I think that's cool.
Yeah. And then I guess something else that I do for like visual inspiration is like, say if I'm working on like something that's relatively light, like project management stuff, then I'll go out to a cafe or like go outside to like with my laptop and get a change of like visual scenery to like, you know, get some visual stimulation that isn't just my desk.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely changing things up every now and again is really nice. Even like getting together with some friends to do some stuff can be a lot of fun. Although make sure, like, word to the wise, make sure you're like honest with your friends as to like the work to play ratio.
True.
Because like if you're there to work and your friends think that it's gonna be mostly playtime, you're gonna have a bad time.
Very true.
So, like, don't be afraid to make it clear, like, hey, what are you guys here to get out of it? Like, is this gonna be mostly catching up and chit-chat? Or are we gonna be, like, doing some work, and then chatting, and then doing more work, and then chat? Like make sure you're, like, honest about that. And don't be afraid to be honest about that.
Yeah. That's, yeah, it's good to be clear about that on the beginning, because there's nothing wrong with having like a goof off night with your friends. Yeah. Sometimes they happen spontaneously. You didn't plan for it, but it happened. But like, you don't want that to be a pattern. Yeah. I think it's something we fell into freshman year. Chris and I, we did a lot of work. You know, we wanted to get stuff done, but there was also a lot of playing video games. There was also a lot of like wacky hijinks, and there was a lot of like hanging out with other friends that kind of. Like, we did have the intention of working and doing something, and then it's 3 a.m. and we're finishing our drawing project. So, you know, be clear about the interaction.
Yeah. 100%.
I really like having people around when I'm working, but yeah, it does have to be like a very focused, productive work setting in order for things to get done. Because like, as soon as it's not, it becomes like a hindrance to your workflow.
Yeah.
Actually, it's because of that specifically, I have too much temptation these days to crack a joke or to have, like, if I don't have headphones on, I'm just listening to the space and there are other people in the room. I want to say something because silence makes me itchy. But because of that, I typically don't even work around people because, like, I'm just like, I can't help myself. But if it's people I don't know, much easier. If you're in like a live drawing session, there's a bunch of people you don't know, I could draw for days, like no problem. But if I'm in the room with like 4 other people I know and there's like a break period, I'm just like, what's up, guys? And I just want to be silly.
Oh my gosh, the amount of times I probably like distracted people when we were in college, like while they're working, just being like, hey, what you working on?
I guess.
You just kind of want to stand behind them and like socially interact. It's just like, it's quiet in here.
Yeah, or like, what's it called? On like, what's that called? The other side of things, I was working on an essay for like a class, and I was having a really hard time with it, and my friend invited me over to like do like a work study session together, and like I was a little hesitant because the last time I did that with a friend, we wound up messing around a whole bunch, and I was like a little upset because like I legit wanted to get work done and I didn't. But I agreed to it because I was just like, whatever. Like I really just need a change of scenery. Maybe that'll help me get this essay done, and it did. And it was actually really nice because like we would do like a work for an hour, and then we'd just like mess around for like 20 minutes, and then we'd work for an hour, and then we'd mess. It was really nice. That was a good solid like hangout work session.
Was it a good workflow?
Yes.
I would I want to just let you guys know out there in the ether that I look at the microphone for some reason every time I say that.
Me too. Like every time I'm talking to you guys directly, I'm looking at my. We should put googly eyes on the microphone.
Yes.
Yes. Little googly eyes.
We'll call it chat.
Yes, our little listener audience microphone is just looking at us with googly eyes.
Yeah, I mean, like, someday it'll be chat, because maybe someday we can do, like, a live session.
A live podcast.
Fun.
Ooh.
Have people ask us questions about art. It'll never happen. We'll never get that big.
How dare you?
I just want to say that so we can clip this. And then when we get that big, play it and be like, oh no, never saw it coming.
What? Psh, what? All 3 subscribers. Hi.
Hello.
It's good
we
to see you.
appreciate you.
We should We should see where this podcast goes in 5 years.
Absolutely, I'm very excited. I was thinking like maybe for the 10th one we could do a live one. That'd be cool. That'd be
That
fun.
would be pretty sweet.
We'll think about it.
Are you saying it would be fun? Because I think it would be a delight. Yeah. And on that topic, sort of segue, we gotta wrap it up for the day, because things are happening, so we're gonna cut it just a little bit shorter than usual.
Things are happening. A meteor hit. You never hear from us again.
Bye-bye. But yeah, so, I think we're gonna wrap it up for the day. Thank you so much for, taking the time to listen to us. We hope you got something out of this. Any final thoughts from you guys?
Don't do drugs. And be good to yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Make the artwork work for you. That's not the quote.
We're gonna edit that out.
We're not gonna edit that out.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it then.
Alrighty.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.